mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
And welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. Yes, it's your mom and dad. And alas, we are miles and miles apart. Making my way downtown. I miss you too, family. We are currently...
Very gross.
I feel as if I've become a bit codependent. Evan's been gone for only 5 days at this point. He's currently in Nashville working his butt off. And I am missing you like you can't believe.
You guys, it's gross. Apologies. I know married people aren't supposed to show love or affection of any type, but it's true. We love each other very much. We become a little codependent.
Yeah.
We become kind of like that old married couple you see walking down the street, and they're just like the old times, and they're just kind of always together doing the thing. And you know what? It's a beautiful thing, and don't be grossed out by it. It's just your parents showing love to each other.
And we're starting to look alike, so there's that. We're blending into one person.
We're wearing each other's sweaters.
Dressing the same, looking alike. We're just doing the whole thing. But Evan he's coming to us from his hotel room in Nashville. Yeah. And I'm glad that you're here with us today because you were going through it. The allergies hit you. And family, you know better than anybody that Evan brags 24/7 about how he always is feeling good and not sick. And you were struggling the past few days.
Well, listen, apparently...
With your allergies. But allergies can be so brutal.
Okay, well, I don't like that kind of like general attitude you have about it.
But allergies are brutal.
There's two things going on with me. Well, number one is allergies don't get enough credit. Okay, so shout out to allergies because, I didn't put enough respect on allergies' name.
You really have not. Over the years, while I had allergies
were just like, okay, sniffles or something. And I never get allergies. It's not something I struggle with. But apparently, like in other parts of the world, allergies can be different. And every time I come here, I get absolutely destroyed. I literally step off the plane, and within an hour, I feel like I have the flu. And I'm just like, I got sick like, every time I come here. What's up? And it's just allergies. But I get it like...
Also, calling Nashville other parts of the world is wild.
Well, I'm just saying, apparently, I'm, where you're born and raised, maybe you're just kind of like, immune. But like, I'm getting wrecked out here, you guys. It's very bad.
It's very bad.
I couldn't sleep for like 3 days. I was just watching my TV shows till 5 a.m., losing my mind. So feel bad for me.
So feel bad for your dad, but you have pushed through the allergies and you are here with us today, a new man. And
a new man, a new respect for you, for all you people that I didn't respect you. I'll be honest with you. When people said I have bad allergies, I was like, grow up, right? That's like a child's illness. That's not a real illness. And so I didn't respect you guys at all. And now that I've gone through it, just like many times in life, you have to go through things on your own to really see the fire. And I respect you guys now. I really am sorry for not putting respect on the pain. So I'm just here today to really mostly talk about that.
Well, thank you for being here with us today. We so appreciate you. And we have a lot to talk about.
We do.
Because that finale was wild. We're talking Grant's finale and after the final rose today. And we all knew, but of course, leading up to it, that it was going to be stressful because he doesn't know until like literally the final minute who he's going to choose. But this was different than what I expected with like some of the tea we found out and who he chose and what went down. And we have a lot to talk about. But Evan, something that I need to address first and foremost out the gate is the biggest announcement that we got, which is that we know Bachelor in Paradise is coming, but surprise, surprise, they let us know last night, JP announced that the Goldens will be joining Paradise. Now,
what is that? I was confused.
Okay, Evan, it's not like we're also going to have a golden Bachelor in Paradise. The Goldens are joining the 20s and 30s on the sand. So it's going to be half 20s and 30s. It's going to get
weird and it's going to get a little creepy.
Well, Evan, have you met Pascal? Pascal is going to show up to the beach and be like, oh, Maria.
Finally, my types. Finally, what I've been looking for.
Oh, Maria, it is so wonderful to see you here. You're looking gorgeous on the sand. I mean, Pascal, because
Zoe.
you know he's going to be on the beach, will be relentlessly hitting on the younger women. And now all I can picture is Pascal and Maria dating and Pascal meeting Maria's father one day.
So
which we need to see.
That's insane.
I've brought you here today to talk about my daughter Maria.
Yeah.
Sir, I know I am a bit older than you, but what I can offer, this beautiful mane of hair you have, monsieur, what I can do with this hair, I think I like this guy, Maria.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's one compliment to these Italian dads, and they're just like, this guy's great. He's like, I will date your daughter. I am 50 years old. And he's like, your daughter, he's a good guy.
But can you believe that this is happening?
Well, I think we're being misled because it makes what I'm thinking is like they have like another section and then they're probably going to do some games together, some different things together, but they're not going to be like, Zoe, come on down. And then right after they're like, and then a bunch of 60-year-old people and they're all like sleeping in the same bunks. Like there's no way.
You're right.
I mean, let's be real. It's going to
be
get weird. All the dudes will just start hitting on the young chicks. Like that's just the reality. Unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. And I'm not saying I don't agree with it.
It's going to make us so angry. It's just going to be we're all just going to be mad. I mean,
they're going to get drunk and they're going to just start flirting with a bunch of 25-year-olds.
I mean, you might be right. They might just have the older people. They might just, put them on a yacht of some sort off of wherever they're going to be filming now. But I don't think so. I think they're going to do a full combination. And can you picture Susan and Hakeem together, like hanging out, being buds at the bar? Listen, a lot of people are very displeased with this and they're like, we hate this.
Really?
We didn't ask for this. Is this absolute mess? Yes, but I'm very excited because it's going to be crazy.
If they were to bring them in the same group,
it's going to be wild.
The most out of control, irresponsible move of. I mean, it's just pure chaos. It's like a, you know what? Screw it. Last season. Who cares? Let's
it kind of feels like, I mean, obviously we don't have the Bachelorette this year. Maybe we didn't have Bachelor in Paradise last year. Maybe this is like a last ditch effort to try to make this work. And they're like, maybe if we make it chaotic and messy, but I think they're thinking they're going to bring the Goldens on and it'll be sweet because it's like, mentorship. The Goldens are going to give great advice to some of the younger people. And maybe that's what we'll see as the viewers, but it's going to get messy.
I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. The guy's going to come down.
Drinking.
The guy's going to go, he's going to get, at first he's going to be like, oh my God, how old are you? Oh my God, you're my daughter's age, right? He's going to say stuff like that. You're my daughter's age. And they're going to be like, yeah.
I hate this so
it's going to be kind
now.
of like set the vibe. It's set the boundary. And then they're going to get drunk and they're going to be like, listen, you're gorgeous. Listen.
Jack, you're gorgeous.
You should have met me when I was your age. You would have loved me. You know what I mean? It's just, it would be a nightmare.
I'm going to love it for the mess, but I can already feel my blood pressure with just seeing men be men and me feeling a rage.
I mean,
but
I can't imagine. But
it's going to cause a lot of stir, though, if that's really what they're doing. And
Agreed.
I feel in my bones that that's what they're doing. I don't think they're separating them. I think they're having them do this together. But anyway, that was actually, when Jesse says we've got some crazy announcement to let you all in on, that was one that actually my jaw was on the floor. I immediately ran and called my mom. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. I'm telling everybody I'm seeing right now. I told somebody on the street outside of Ember's rehearsal. I was like, did you hear? And they're like, I don't watch the show. I'm like, I got to talk to people about this because this.
Who are you? I've never met you.
Because this is blowing my mind. It's just what Pascal asked for. They said, Pascal, would you be the Bachelor? And he said, no, the only way I would, or he said, sure, the only way I would be the Bachelor, though, is if they made the cast much younger. And so now he'll go on Paradise and they'll be like, Pascal, no. They're going to have the handlers constantly pulling him back and be like, Pascal, no, you're supposed to be dating someone closer to your age. And he's just going to be like, disgusting.
Disgusting. I wouldn't dare.
Anywho,
I wouldn't care.
So that'll be wild. And they didn't give us a date,
wait.
so I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Very much looking forward to it. Okay, let's talk about this finale, this After the Final Rose. Yes. But first, we have to take a quick pause. Mm-hmm. Well, this season may not have ultimately worked out for some of these women. Yikes, we will talk about that later. But hey, everyone's hair looked great. We have to acknowledge that. Everyone was looking gorgeous. Everyone's hair looked great, okay? And let's talk about my hair looking great, too.
Oh, I mean, your hair is unbelievable right now.
Do you see how long it is, family? And that is all thanks to Nutrafol. Oh my gosh, fam. Obviously, I had heard about Nutrafol's amazing results from family and friends of mine who had been taking it, but I had to try it myself. And I started about a year ago because you know me and you know my hair struggles. And I cannot believe I am so happy with the results. My hair has grown so much. As you can see, the length has grown so much. It's thicker. The shedding is way less. It's shinier. It's healthier. I mean, I came out of the bathroom the other day and I had my hair all done and down, and Evan thought it was a wig. So that's how much Nutrafol has 100%. Been working for me, okay? Because it was so voluminous. Obviously, I will be a fan of Nutrafol's for life now. And here's the thing. Hair is so much more than what you see on the surface. It's a reflection of what's happening inside. Nutrafol is incredible because it supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting key root causes of thinning like stress, hormones, aging, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism through whole body health.
Yeah, Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. And it's physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients. Something to think about is that thinning hair is different for everyone. So a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it, which is exactly why Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages, such as postpartum or menopause, and lifestyle factors such as plant-based lifestyle, so you can get just what you need.
Nutrafol has been an absolute game changer in my life, honestly. And with Nutrafol, building a hair growth routine is simple. You purchase online, no prescription required, automated deliveries and free shipping keep you on track. Plus, with a Nutrafol subscription, you can save up to 20%. You'll have access to free naturopathic doctor consults, and a Headspace meditation membership is included. They're just so amazing. Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code MOMDAD. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code MOMDAD. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code MOMDAD. Okay, so, quick reminder, family, before we get into this finale, we're starting Love is Blind, the most recent season. And yes, as we've said before, it's officially over now, but we are going to be watching it. Your father and I are going to be watching it for the first time. We have no spoilers, so we're going in so you can relive this with us as we figure this out as it goes. I'm very excited. That's going to start next week. We have 2 episodes next week, and we're diving straight into Love is Blind.
It's going to be amazing.
Straight into Love is Blind.
It feels like it's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and know it's our favorite to recap. So I am looking forward to the mess. Also, there was the preview that's been released of the show that's going to be on Hulu now. It's called like Get Out or something. And it's a bunch of celebrities trying to almost escape room this house. Simu is the host of it. And we've got a bunch of people from The Bachelor who are going to be on it. Spencer Pratt. Yes, Spencer Pratt will be on it. Yeah, but don't you
kind of have a crush on Simu?
Well, I mean, everybody loves Simu.
I'm just saying,
so
I don't know if you feel comfortable with that.
Everybody has a crush on Simu.
I saw like the show pulled up on your computer the other day, and I was just like, out in the open, you just like you're just looking at him, like it's just like, at least hide it.
The show's not out yet.
I'm talking about like
The preview?
The preview. It was just like, dude,
What can I say?
can you have some respect for me?
It's also a giant escape room, so I'm very excited about this. That's what it kind of looks like. So we might have to dabble into that. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how maybe the first 2 episodes are looking, and if people are liking it, maybe we'll dive into that, because it's a bunch of people that we know on the show, and I think it's going to be dramatic and get chaotic, because the prize is $1 million.
Finally.
Which is a big one.
Not like 42,000. Okay, well, that's not really cutting it. I like the $1 million. Let's go.
$1 million, I think it's going to get dirty.
Agreed.
Okay, so that's what's coming up with us, family. But let's get into this finale. So it starts off with the meetings of the families. And we see that Litia is going to meet Grant's family first. And the thing that I immediately noticed was the fact that Grant was like hanging on her. Did you notice this? He was like clinging to her.
I did. It felt, my first note that I thought of was like married couple of 3 years.
I know.
Like it was really calm. It was a calm energy. It was a very like, it felt, okay, I have different thoughts at different eras of this episode and different eras of even them hanging out.
Yes.
But that initial clip when she sits down and the family's there and they start talking, in the way he was leaning into her and kind of holding each other, it felt very like we've been together for about 8 months and I'm introducing you to my girlfriend.
Yes.
And it felt calm.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but Grant's sister said, I liked Litia from day one.
Yes.
And I saw someone post some visual clips, and I'm not trying to be shady with this and start drama, but there were definitely some clips floating around after the final rose that Grant's sister didn't look thrilled.
I saw. She didn't during the Litia meeting, she was very glowy, sweet, smiles. During the final rose live, I didn't see a single smile.
No. It seemed like sis was very much into Litia and thought that was a lock. As did the rest of us, okay? As did the rest of us.
I can't wait to get into this.
I know.
It's like so easy to kind of blow early by talking right now, but it's pretty amazing. We called some things big time that I'm excited to talk about. But the one thing I do want to say that really kind of threw me off was how good she did with the family.
Well, I wasn't thrown off because I knew she wasn't going to do good. I knew she was going to be amazing.
Solidified her in my mind was like how good she did with the family was like so insane.
I wrote down, I was like, is this the best person we've ever seen meet a family ever?
Might be the GOAT.
Litia might be the GOAT of meeting families.
And it was so bad, like good bad, that Grant's mom had to be like, by the way, you have to choose your own happiness, not just what I want. Because you could tell it was like, they were all kind of like giddy.
Yes.
With like, oh my God, you found your wife. I can't believe we're doing this.
Oh,
and she had to almost like remind herself to be like, I just want to make sure you're good, right? Like I know we've all made the decision.
When Litia and Grant's mom sat down together, the way that Litia, when she was asking about where they might move and what the future might look like, the fact that Litia was like, hey, I don't expect Grant to move to us because when we have a family one day, I want our children to also learn from you. I was like, if I'm a mom hearing that from this brand new woman, right. I'm like,
that's exactly. No mother-in-law drama energy at all.
Keep talking, please. And I noted too that seeing Litia and Grant's mom speaking with each other, they have a similar energy. And so that started to kind of track with me too, how Grant is constantly talking about how Litia gives him wife, how he sees himself in the future with her, the things that he cares about, that he loves about Litia. And I'm like, you know what? His mom and her do have a similar energy. So I could see where that's definitely coming from.
The big takeaway for me from her meeting was Litia's focus on empathy for Grant. I will say this, to be honest with you, she could not have been more of just a model for what like a mom would dream. You know what I mean? Like you're like the perfect words coming out of her mouth. Yeah. And it was just like, you could see, I mean, it was just breathtaking to watch her parents kind of just go like, no notes.
Well, like when she talked to Grant's mom and she was starting to cry, thinking about Grant's upbringing and the things he struggled with and her empathy there. And then when she was talking also to Grant's dad afterwards, something that I noted is that when Grant's dad brought up, well, here's the bottom line, you know, Grant experienced a divorce and what are your thoughts on that? And that Litia did not say anything in like any sort of demeaning a relationship or a family upbringing that experiences divorce. Litia said, we both know that we want to pull things from both sides of our family. So when he asks her, what are your thoughts on divorce? She wasn't just like, oh, I could never see myself that happening to me. She's like, well, no, we both want to pull things that we saw from our families. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I'm hearing this, I'm like, I would feel so seen and respected and treasured by this person.
Especially because, you know, the dad did a lot of kind of like disclaimer stuff where he's like, I had my struggles because of that. He went through a lot. You know, we got divorced, like kind of almost saying like, I know I bring a lot of baggage to the table energy. And she would like diffuse all that and just be like you said, like, I want to involve you, mom, dad, we can learn a lot from you. Like very family oriented. And I got to say, like if Ember was dating someone and they came into the fold and were like, we just want to let you know, like, I just can't wait for you to be a part of our life. Like that would
be so exciting.
I mean,
yes, selfishly, you're like, yes, please.
Exactly.
That's what I want. Which then, of course, exactly connects with what you were saying that then Grant's mom says to him later, which is like, honey, I don't want this to be my decision because clearly mom is like, yes, please.
That was so awesome of her, man. Like,
to
be selfless there. You know what I mean? To be selfless enough to kind of recognize that probably I'm really falling in love with Litia, but I have to remember this isn't about me. Like that was really hyper aware.
Yeah, she was very incredible. In that moment, I was like, wow, that's an amazing mom move. And also just wanted to say about Grant's dad, something that I really noted and appreciated through this episode was how Grant's dad was so vulnerable.
Yes.
In what happened.
I mean, like so open and vulnerable.
Grant's dad, there was not one time where he was trying to place the blame on anything else. He was just owning everything that happened and taking so much accountability and so much humility. I felt like that was a pretty incredible picture of someone who, I don't know, was just willing to be like very honest about
100%.
Things that happened.
100%. He was, I mean, this whole family dynamic was really beautiful on many levels.
It really was.
But I will say, the second they showed the edit of her saying to his dad, she said, I really believe that, like, I'm going to paraphrase here, but it was like, I really believe that pure joy is only really accomplished once we have kids. That's when I went, interesting.
Yeah.
That was the first smell of something's up. Up until this, I was like, I guess we're done. But when she said, like, true happiness is basically only accomplished once there's kids involved, I just was like, oh, I don't know if they're on the same page. Like, I know they were not on the same page before, like, about the kid timeline thing.
Yeah.
But you could tell that, like, her soul was like, kids. And nothing about Grant really said that. He's like, oh, maybe kids one day energy, you know? And so that was the first smell of, like, they included that in there.
Yeah.
And they're hinting at there's trouble in paradise.
Now, there was a conversation with Grant and his dad after that where Grant then brings up, he's like, hey, I got a little bit of a problem here. And the problem is that she wants to have kids in 2 years and she has a timeline.
Right.
And I'm thinking, you know, I would like to travel and experience certain things with my partner and maybe kids more like 4 years from now. Yeah. And then Grant's dad, you know, basically said, you're always going to have differences. You kind of have to make sacrifices, meet in the middle a little bit. Don't let something small get in the way. And that was a moment where I was like, I don't know if kids or not kids is small.
Right.
Granted,
I think he was trying to say, like, it's really hard to find an amazing person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Yeah. So, like, maybe just do it and then you could figure out the kid thing later.
Yeah, maybe just maybe just travel for 2 years, Grant, and then try the kids or something like that. But
I will say, like, thinking about that, it's so massive. If someone's like, this is what my life's goal is in the next 2 years, and someone's like, I could not think of something I want less in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it is insane, and it is like really hard. And I really do feel that like ultimately that's what ate away at his brain and was just like, that was the thing. It would have been so interesting to see if she would have been down, been like, oh no, I'm cool 5-6 years, to actually see.
Well,
how
she
close.
did kind of say that later.
Yeah.
She did kind of say that later to him. So I don't know.
No, 100%. But I still think in his brain, he's thinking like, yeah, you're going to support me and kind of be okay, but how cool will you actually be? Now, again, we'll get into this, but it would be interesting to know if they both were even with the kid thing, how much closer it would have been, or if it was like much more.
No, I
than
hear you. But what was hitting me during this conversation with Grant and his dad was, I was like, Grant, you're telling your dad about this, but at least from what we're seeing, you still haven't said it to Litia. You still haven't said directly to Litia that that's not the timeline that you want. So what are you doing right now? You just kind of are nodding and like, oh yeah, I love that. You know, we work it out together. But in ITMs, you're talking about how her timeline's a problem. And then talking about it with your dad, but you haven't had this like upfront conversation with her about it. And then I know I'm jumping way ahead, but we end up finding out from Litia later in after the final rose during her hot seat that Litia's like, Grant knew from like episode 1 about my quote unquote timeline.
Yeah. Oh boy, that got crazy.
But she was saying he knew about my timeline weeks and weeks before, and then all of a sudden, in these later episodes, it started to become a thing to him.
Yep.
But this whole time he did know that that's where I stood. So something to think about.
Yeah. And we called, I just have to say this now because we called this dead on. And this was like a couple of weeks ago. I think when he first told her that he was falling for her or whatever, when I think I said this, and listen, you're usually the one who calls things. I called this. I said, I think he said that because he's panicking and he doesn't want to lose her.
You mean about the I love you?
Like when he said I'm falling for you, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's like, I think I'm falling for you.
No,
like,
you're talking about what happened when he said I love you last week during the fantasy suites, where she said, no, I am not going to be intimate in the fantasy suites with you. And then all of a sudden he was like, just FYI, I love you. Yeah.
I love you. And it was just kind of like, whoa, that's random. And then she later called it out and she's like, I think you were doing all this just to make me not lose you, which is super interesting. You know, and what made it even heavier too was when we get to like after they're with the parents and then she's outside and she tells him, I love you back.
Yes.
And says, I've never told anyone that. Like, dude, at 31, to have never said I love you to someone, that puts saying I love you on such a massive pedestal at this point.
I literally wrote, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Like, I just typed that out.
When she said that, I was like, what?
The second she said that, the pit that I got in my stomach, because I'm like, oh my God, this woman loves him. Like, this woman loves him. She is ready to be his wife. She wants to have his children. Like she said, she wants to support him and be there and give him the family that he wanted to grow up with. Like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And at this point, still, I was like, Litia's gonna take this thing. She's gonna win this. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be such a beautiful moment about the fact that he's the first person that she ever said I love you to. Mm-hmm. But now, knowing what happened and looking back on this, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it just makes it 10 times more devastating for her. And yeah.
I was thinking, imagine being like, you know, she's obviously a very beautiful woman. She's obviously very accomplished, all these things, right? So she's definitely like a catch in her, you know, society, right? Of all the people she's hanging out with. And how she's 31 years old, and she's dated probably a bunch of guys, and she said, hey, you know, I've never like been able to find a Mormon guy that I like. I love the idea that like there's like a slew of like 10 guys she's dated for like 3 months or something over like her whole life. They're all these Mormon guys, and they're watching this show, and she says, I love you after like basically 6 hours of being together. And they're like, what the absolute fuck? Like, I pursued this woman. We went on 40 dates. We dated for 6 months. Never said I love you.
But guess
this
what?
Guy
she didn't
gets
love you guys.
I love you 5 hours in. Like, you know, there's like 7 guys that are like, what the hell?
Sorry, guys. She didn't love you.
Dude.
But it just made the whole thing so much harder.
Oh my God, it was brutal.
And it's also something that made me go, oh my God, the fact that we don't have a Bachelorette this coming season is wild, because talk about a perfect setup for Bachelorette. Like, Litia is perfect Bachelorette material. Litia is like, I want to get married and have children ASAP. I would be so serious about this process. The whole like story of how she got here with Grant. She's never said I love you before. Like, Litia would be the perfect Bachelorette. And now we don't have one this year.
It's very interesting. Maybe you're right. Although, you know, you need, as the lead, you need a little messy. You need a little undecided. You need a little, you know, I don't know. Maybe Litia, you think if Litia is capable of that? She might be too, like, find her guy early on and be like, I'm good.
Yeah, but, you know, they mix it.
But no, the romance and the heartbreak would be the perfect setup.
Yeah. I think it would be a great season. Oh, but it doesn't matter because we're not going to get it.
We're not going to get it at all.
So there's that. Okay. Let's talk about then Julianna meeting Grant's family.
Okay.
But first we need to take another quick pause. Well, the season is over now, so all of our cast has their phones back, which I'm sure was a relief to them. Well, let us tell you about something that was a relief to us recently involving phones and our kiddo. I'm talking about Gab. Here's the thing. We were really stressing because Ember is that age where she's asking for a phone because a lot of her friends have one. And I want her to be able to contact us when she's at school or rehearsal. But we were stressed because personally, we're just not comfortable with her having a phone because of access to social media and the risk of what a kid can get unfiltered access to in general. There's just no way. We were like, there's just no way. So we didn't know what to do until we discovered Gab. With Gab, they can finally get a phone without all the risk. Gab is the leader in safe phones and watches for kids, teens, and tweens with no social media apps, no internet browser, and GPS tracking. Gab devices are built specifically to keep kids and teens safely connected.
Yeah, we are so grateful for Gab. Kids get unlimited talk and text with Gab Messenger, the first messaging and video calling app designed with kids' safety as the top priority. Gab's exclusive app has a parent companion app for easy controls, and it doesn't just keep parents informed. Gab Messenger blocks high-risk messages and content from ever reaching your child's phone in the first place. In fact, Gab's phones and watches are built with smart filtration that proactively block harmful content before ever reaching your child.
It's just like a deep breath with Gab. I'll just tell you that. It's been such a deep breath. And with Gab, you can make your kid's phone or watch personalized to whatever your family is comfortable with, which I love. Like for our fam, we've made it so Ember can only call or text our numbers and a few family members' numbers. That's it. They're just amazing. And on top of it, Gab phones have all the tech features kids actually want, like the Gab Music app, which lets kids stream clean music. And for older kids, there's the Gab Phone 4 Pro with hundreds of screened third-party apps that can only be installed when parents give the thumbs up. We cannot recommend Gab enough, okay? It is the most responsible way that we found for parents and kids to embrace technology together. Protecting your kid has never been easier. For the best deals, sign up to Gab today. No contract required at gab.com/momdad. That's Gab, GABB.com/momdad. Gab.com/momdad. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, so on to Julianna meeting Grant's parents. Now listen, Julianna did an amazing job and she's absolutely adorable. She's wonderful, okay? I want to also make this clear, very clear in our conversations, this podcast episode. When we're talking about Litia, like Litia said, Julianna's amazing. So any criticism that's going down has nothing to do with Julianna.
No. There's There's no criticism, that we're just breaking down kind of the vibe.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make that clear because obviously I think a lot of the audience,
like if we like Litia, then it's
yes, exactly. And it's like, no, I think they're both amazing women. I think most everyone, including Litia, just really thought it was going to be Litia, and so there's just this like shock happening. But Julianna's amazing. But she did a great job meeting the family. But I will say, just then in comparison to Litia, because Litia now seems to be the GOAT of meeting families, you did feel the difference. Like I noticed that Julianna seemed very nervous. She was having a hard time making eye contact. I noticed that a lot. She was like looking down or looking around a lot, which again, if you're the family and you're coming direct from Litia, it's a little bit like, okay, like she's super sweet, but it's not that thing maybe that we felt with Litia as much.
It's funny though. See, I have a little bit of a different perspective.
Okay, go ahead. Speaking.
So Litia came in. It was beautiful, connected, wife, children, depth, calm, energy. I will say, Julianna came in, laughter, cracking jokes.
See, she seemed really nervous to me.
Dad was really engaged, laughed. Dad really liked Julianna's energy.
Dad liked Julianna a lot, but Julianna, she didn't seem nervous to you. I felt like she was like kind of looking away.
She was nervous, but she came in with an energy.
Yeah.
Because Julianna's that way. Latia's like a lot more calm, and it's beautiful, but Julianna lit the room up a little bit. I got to be honest with you.
Okay.
And she came in with energy, and you know when I knew we were a little bit in trouble was when I saw Julianna with Grant next to the family. Because at first, the Litia vibe was like married, cuddly, sweet.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, locked. Then I saw him with Julianna, and he had like the spark. He had the like I was reading on him. Like that's the first time I went, oh shit.
See, I didn't notice that at all.
Oh, I caught it immediately. And maybe it's just a guy thing. I don't know, but it was that like Litia makes me feel like I have a wife. Julianna makes me feel like I want to get out in the world. Yeah. And I could just see his like body language shift into kind of like isn't she awesome? Like excited that she was here, laughing. I knew something was up. I knew I knew that Litia wasn't out in the clear the second I saw them together. And I'm like, Litia played the game better and with the family, but I will say Julianna's natural energy, the family kind of was buzzing a little bit off of it. And it kind of I was like, oof. Like, again, didn't have all the perfect words, didn't have all the things Litia had, but I will say just her energy was a different vibe.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that as much. I was feeling more like nervous energy.
Okay. I mean, I think she was, but I do think she kind of lit up the room energy-wise.
Okay. Well, Julianna then has the conversation with Grant's mom. And this is when Grant's mom just like direct asks, do you love my son?
Yes.
And Julianna's like, well, we haven't told each other that we love each other yet. And she's like, okay, well, is that something that like you're confident that you're going to be able to get there? And she tells his mom, she's like, well, to me, love means forever. And I want to make sure that I know that for sure before I'm saying that to him. And I did have to say, shout out to Julianna for sticking to her guns and not being like, but like in my heart, I do love your son.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I was thinking if I was in that situation and I'm like, I do want to walk away with this guy.
Love.
Yes, a little bit. I'd be like, okay, if I do want to walk away with this guy and his mom is asking me, do you love him though? I'd probably be like, well, we haven't. I just kind of panic and be like, well, we haven't said it yet. But like, I mean, obviously, yes. Like I love your son. He's amazing. And she kept her heels planted in the ground and she was like, I don't know. I believe I could get there, but I don't want to say until I know for sure. And I was like, all right.
But dang. I will say she did a great job qualifying because she said more than that. She said more than just, I don't know if I can get there. We'll see. It was, hey, I've been heartbroken before in a really bad ex relationship. So I'm protecting myself a little bit here. Also, it's more about me not saying the words, knowing I could get dumped in a day.
Yeah.
So she was kind of saying to the mom, I love him, but I'm not quite ready to say it because I know that like in a couple hours I could be dumped, and that might be just too devastating for me. So in my mind, it was like a way to say I love him, but like without. Now I don't think the mom caught it all the way, because later on she says like, hey, by the way, I think if she doesn't say I love you, you should, dump her basically. But I do feel like it was a good way to kind of not just say, yeah, I don't know, we'll see if I get there.
I completely hear you. I think she did a fantastic job. I'm just saying I give her credit because I probably would have panic loved.
Yes.
I love your son so much.
Yeah, sorry. This is a lot. And it was interesting how mom's energy with Litia was like, hey, by the way, it's your decision. You really need to pick for yourself. And then the same day, the mom goes, hey, by the way, if she doesn't end up saying I love you, like, you got to dump her.
She said, as your mother, if she doesn't get there saying I love you, I'm asking you to walk away.
Yeah, like she didn't say like, I think you should think about it. She's like, I am commanding you.
I have to be honest with you. I am convinced that they edited that and we missed something, because mom the whole time was so just like, your happiness is key. So hearing and understanding of the situation, and then kind of out of left field was like, by the way, if she doesn't say I love you, I'm asking you to walk away. I feel like we're missing something, because that just felt too.
Yeah, maybe Grant has a history of kind of like.
I would just assume maybe
and then they're not reciprocal. I don't know.
I would just assume maybe mom would be like, if she doesn't say I love you, I'm asking you to not propose.
Right.
That would feel, and maybe that's more what was edited, and that's what was meant, because I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I think it was, but I also think it was like a, hey, don't mess this up. Litia is obsessed with you and is willing to like give her whole life for you. And this girl seems to be like interested in dating you. So like, don't be an idiot kind of energy. Obviously he didn't know the backstory. He didn't know everything, but just kind of the vibe was like mom being like, maybe, I can sense your energy with Julianna and you're a little like infatuated maybe, but you need to kind of keep your head on straight. I don't know. Maybe I was reading a little bit of that maybe.
Well, Dad loved Julianna.
Big time.
Because Julianna right away asked a great question and was like, hey, I feel like, will Grant open up to you? And then Dad was like super vulnerable and was like, hey, I've tried in certain circumstances, but he's asked for space or said I can do it on my own. Maybe it's because of our history together. But just FYI, if Grant is willing to be open to you and share his feelings, that means that like it's a big deal. You're far along.
Yes.
So that was an interesting nugget, because we did hear a lot of the women on the Women Tell All even talk about how, and throughout the season talk about how they felt like they would get deep with Grant and tell him about themselves, but that he wouldn't open up about himself. Yeah. So I feel like that was affirmed with Dad. I thought that was interesting that we got that like confirmation from Dad that Grant can not talk about what he feels and his feelings. And so if he's saying it to you, it's a big deal. But then there was the moment with Grant and his dad, which, I mean, not a dry eye in the house.
Heavy.
I was like bawling during this conversation. And at first, Dad's talking about how like, of course you're going to feel safe with Julianna. She cares for you. I can tell you're going to be safe with her. She really wants to like be there for you. She's asking these great questions. But then Grant's like, hey, it means a lot to me that you're here. And Dad starts crying and he's just like, I'm so proud of you. And I am here because of you. Like, you're the reason that I'm here. And I'm here until God takes me. I mean, that was Grant's crying, his dad's crying. That was a really powerful moment in this episode.
Super powerful. And, you don't see that a lot. Usually it's the other way around, right? Oh, my God, my mom or my dad has helped me through it. But to hear the dad just say, like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my son, basically saving me and kind of being here. And then you hear about, the way Grant talks about his dad in the season when he's like, well, I got to kind of live close to my dad because my dad's going through a lot and I want to be there for. Just like, whoa, like, some real hardcore support there from Grant. And you could tell Grant's, even mom said it earlier. I was like, hey, you could tell he's always been a guy that cares for people and is looking out for everyone. And man, that was pretty wild.
It's one of those things where it's like, obviously, and we'll get to it with the Litia factor, where it's like Grant made some massive mistakes, which is a huge bummer.
Two things can be true.
And it really affected Litia and, like he said, the people around her. But, I do think it's very clear that, he made a bunch of mistakes in this, and it was really disappointing. I was bummed out as a viewer. I love Grant, but I do think it's extremely clear that Grant is so there for his family and, the people that he brings into that circle, because look at what's happened with him and his dad and how he's like, his dad's the priority and making sure that he's there to take care of his dad. And you hear it from his dad's mouth being like, I wouldn't be here without you. So it's just something to know.
For me, I feel like as we talk about this, there's absolutely nothing wrong with like praising someone's actions and then also slamming their other actions. You know what I mean? Like where people were dynamic people with a lot of different things. And so he can be an incredible support to his dad and like be this amazing son to his dad, and then have like major flaws when it comes to how he dealt with Litia. And those two things can exist. So
it's very true. And it might be like flowers are, he might be the most incredible partner to Julianna too.
Exactly.
And then still have like major 100%. Flaws when it comes to what went down with Litia.
100%.
Well, the way that this wraps is that after having conversation with dad and after the way that this goes down, Grant's like, I need to tell Julianna my feelings. I need to put it out there. Even though we haven't had the conversation, she hasn't said this to me yet. I'm just going to say it how I feel, and I'm going to tell her that I love you, Julianna. And he's like, hey, by the way, no pressure, but I just need to tell you this. And at first, I did not think she was going to reciprocate. At first, she was kind of like, thanks. And I'm like, oh gosh, he's going to spiral now. But she ended up reciprocating, and she's like, hey, I love you too. I want it to be us together at the end. And that was that did surprise me, because after what she said to mom, I'm like, oh, it's not going to come until the very end with her.
Well, so here's my take on this whole thing. When he said, I love you to her, it blew my mind. Okay. It blew my mind, because I knew for a fact she would reciprocate.
I didn't think so after she said, after mom, the conversation with mom.
Here's why. I knew for a fact she would reciprocate, because, and I didn't think he would say, I love you, because we're talking the engagement's like tomorrow or the day after. Okay.
Right.
Who confesses their love a day before an engagement if you don't want to get engaged to that person? He had already said to Litia, I love you, before they came into this whole kind of final landing strip of this destination, right? If you had said it, I love you before, it's kind of like saying I love you during the fantasy suites. It's kind of like, okay, cool. You can say I love you to 2 or 3 people before. But if you're saying I love you like the day before, in my mind, if I'm Julianna, I'm like, okay, he's choosing me. He's not going to confess his love to me right before we get engaged.
See,
he's gonna already has made his decision. So
I fully disagree with you. This is The Bachelor. They often say I love you like right before the engagement.
But they usually have said I'm falling for you. Like I just felt like
he has been doing that. That's what they've been doing together.
But I'm just saying it was just the way it was done, in my personal opinion, that like in my mind, I thought that him confessing his love like that, in my mind, if I was Julianna, I'd be like, okay, cool. He really made the final jump for me the day before, which is kind of like he held out and then he really went all in.
I understand being like one of the contestants and being like, oh, you're saying you love me. I'm assuming it's going to be me, because when you hear I love you just in general. But
I wouldn't have felt that way if he would have told me he loved me an episode or 2 before.
That's
what I'm
wild. I think that is a crazy take.
No, because I'm kind of like, we get caught up early on and you can kind of feel a certain way. But if you're confessing purely you love me and saying the words for the first time straight up right before the day, I'm in my mind going, okay, you're kind of
someone tells
solidifying.
Me I love you numerous episodes before the finale, I'm like, it's me for sure. The I love yous always come very like right before the end that are closer. I'd be like, it's either me or me and Litia. I totally disagree.
Wow.
Totally disagree.
See, in my mind, it's like, okay, he said I'm falling for you. And then he finally says it right before, which means I'm locked in my mind.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, if I'm one of the contestants and someone looks at me and says, I love you, I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be me in general, regardless of the timing. But
the thing is on these shows, I normally feel like you see a pull away. You know what I mean? Like when it's after they've met the families, after they've done everything, you always see the pull away. You see the pull. You see the contestant go, are we good? That kiss was weird. You always see that.
Okay.
And then we go, ooh, that was kind of awkward.
Okay.
Like he kind of like stood there awkwardly, or they smooched instead of made out. This was the opposite. He's like holding her and being like, I love you. You know what I mean? Like you always see at the very last minute a little shift, and then you kind of catch, oh, they're going with the other one.
All right. Okay.
He leans in and goes, I love you. I mean, if I was her, I'd be like, God, I've seen the show enough. They kind of body language kind of shows like where they're headed.
Okay. I guess, okay. Hearing it that way, I can understand what you're saying about like you start to feel the pullback. Right. All right. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm telling you.
I don't know. Okay, let's talk about their final dates together.
Yes.
And then also briefly about this panel. But first, we got to take another quick pause. So you got to wonder, what will Grant and some of these ladies do post-Bachelor, right? Will they stick with their current jobs, or will Grant pursue his musical interests? Maybe one of these ladies will start a clothing brand. We shall see. But fam, what do you do for work? That's the question. Is your workday a little unconventional? Do you own your own small business, perhaps? Well, whatever you do, we all know what a gift flexibility is. Flexibility in your workday means you can decide when and where to invest your time, like focusing on the important parts of the business that only you can do. Well, with Stamps.com, tedious tasks like sending certified mail, invoices, checks, or documents in packages can be done on your own time, not someone else's. Stamps.com simplifies your postage needs and adds valuable flexibility back into your workday. We have been using Stamps.com for genuinely over a decade at this point for personal and business uses because they are simply the best. They make it so easy and you save so much valuable time, and you can save money too.
Yeah, I don't know what we would do without Stamps.com at this point. They take care of mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go with Stamps.com mobile app. All you need is a computer and a printer, and they even send you a free scale too, which is amazing. And they make it so simple to easily schedule package pickups through your Stamps.com dashboard. And on top of it all, with Stamps, you automatically see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers.
Yeah, you get rates you won't see anywhere else, like up to 88% off USPS and UPS. That is massive. That's massive. Up to 88%. They've saved us a lot of money over the years, and the no lines, no traffic, no waiting is my personal fave. Sign up at Stamps.com and use code MOMDAD for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com and use the code MOMDAD. Okay, before we get into the final 2 dates with Julianna and Litia, I just have to mention that we got the panel for a second where we got Charity, Clayton, and Jerry Gary Turner. Yeah. And it hit me like a ton of bricks with Clayton and Jerry Gary sitting next to each other. I was like father and son.
Oh, yeah.
It is such father and son energy. And then the fact that both of them, and I never even put this together, the fact that both of them said, I love you to the final 3 women, father and son. They're just like a carbon copy. And I almost felt like pride oozing out of Jerry Gary Turner towards Clayton. I felt like he just wanted to like embrace him in a hug together. Did you feel this?
100%. It was a lot of like, you don't know what it's like out there. You don't know what it's like as the being the lead. You know
I feel like they had the father and son vibes.
It was like they were sitting at the table in like a golf club, with their members, and they're like, no one gets the things we've gone through.
100%. And then also the fact that then they brought Charity up and Jesse's like asking her, so you really cared about your final 2. and you said I love you, and I'm like, you guys, like,
they're trying to soften the blow. They were trying to like, hey, by the way, whatever's coming up next, just so you know, other people have done it too.
Right, but I'm like, don't make Charity have to have this conversation with Dotun sitting there. God bless the two of them. Congratulations again to Charity and Dotun. I always say it. They're just the most gorgeous, lovely couple ever, and they're just.
It's like Charity's like, I'm not one of them.
Charity's like,
it was like Jerry, Gary Turner, him, Clayton, and then Charity. Like one is an amazing and like celebrated, and like and then the other two of these guys, and you're like, okay, these is not the same. And
listen, shout out love to all of them.
Like just because they said I love you to multiple people does not mean you can lump them all
just
together.
Like, I didn't like my season didn't have the drama that we're connecting with the other these other two seasons.
To soften the blow here.
She's like, I'm very happy with Dotun over here, so just let's not
don't bring me over these two guys. Yeah, that was very funny.
And also, I fell over laughing when he asked Jerry Gary Turner what his advice would be. And Jerry Gary Turner said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Because that's a Wayne Gretzky quote.
Yeah.
And I think it was The Bachelorette, who I love, did a meme of like quoting, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, quote Wayne Gretzky, quote Michael Scott, quote Jerry Gary Turner, because the office when Michael was quoting that.
It's insane. It's also just like perfection. It's such an old guy like quote, just to throw that out there. It's kind of like a way to just kind of, you know, it's like putting a Band-Aid on anything you do.
Because it didn't really,
you got to take shots in life.
Because it didn't really connect with like exactly what they were talking about.
Because you told I love you to multiple people, that like that's a shot. It's like kind of the opposite actually. Like you sprayed everyone. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like, you know, it's funny.
It's and to now go into the Grant saying I love you to both of them, and then what went down. I don't think I will ever, and you know what? Maybe this is exactly why they pulled the panel out, and they basically said like, hey, unless you're in the circumstance, you'll never know. So who am I talking out of my ass saying like, how could you do this? But I will never quite wrap my brain around saying I love you on this show before it's the very end, or you know 100% who it is. I think you can absolutely, I'm not the person out here saying you can't love. I think you can love many people and be in love with many people at the same time. But in this specific circumstance where the end is ultimately monogamy, even if I was like, I'm in love with both of them, I just wouldn't say it. Like, I just wouldn't. I just don't get why people say it. I don't get it.
It feels just like I have crushes on two people. I have two crushes.
Right.
Like that's what it feels like.
But what I'm saying is
I don't. These people. I don't even know them. Like I have two big crushes.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't doubt that there's many people who are in love with multiple of the individuals on the show.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the need
why they
to
why not just wait for that moment to say it like at the altar or something.
Yeah, I just don't understand why you gotta say it. It just doesn't feel necessary, and it always ends badly. It always ends badly.
I think it's Litia's point though. I think people kind of semi-panic do it. I think there's this sense of I'm going to lose them if I don't.
True.
So I think it's like it's insurance. It's like I'm torn between these three. I tell them all I love them, and I can kind of decide later. But if I don't tell I love you, they've seen the show, they know that's what comes. Then I have to do it.
Love insurance.
So I think it's love insurance. Fantastic.
Love insurance. I love that. I like that.
That was brilliant.
Better up your love insurance on me. You've been gone for 5 days.
I'm very aware.
God forbid you've been gone for 5 days working your ass off. How dare you?
I've been telling her I love her even when I'm not ready, just because I know that's what she wants to hear while I'm gone. It's a nightmare.
He's not ready to tell me he loves me after 20 million years together. It's like I'm still not sure between you and the other one. I'm not quite sure.
I respect you enough to not tell you until I'm ready.
Thank you so much.
Speaking of that,
yes, Julianna's final date. So they started off exploring Punta Cana on a catamaran. Stunning. He lets us know, he confirms in ITMs that their relationship started off as a physical relationship, which did make me feel validated, because I'm like, okay, we weren't just reading deeply into it where we're like, these two have some wild physical chemistry. Even though, again, the last like 2 episodes, everything seemed a little off, but coming back into this episode, we were back. We were back, baby, with these two. The hometown and the fantasy suite, I felt like there was nervousness, there was trepidation. Maybe it's because both of them wanted to tell each other that they loved each other. And now that they've said, I love you, there's like a freedom and they're back to this like very strong chemistry energy. But then when they have the night portion, something that I was like, slay queen, it made me giggle, but I was also like, slay, is when he comes to the hotel room, she is in a full club dress, like a stunning, gorgeous gown, club, red carpet dress, lighting the candles. And, you know, in contrast, we have Litia in like her sweats and shirt. Normally this final date, when they come to the hotel room, the people are in like their cozies. And Julianna's like, oh, hell no, I'm wearing this dress.
Julianna knows what she's doing. And not only, she knows him too. She knows him. She knows the chemistry they have. And she's going, I'm not going to be sweating this one up. I'm not going to be on sweats. I'm not trying to
She feels like she's got to go full glam.
I'm trying to go, our future looks like we're flying to Miami. We're flying to
And I'm always going to be in a club
dress. We're going to have fun. It's going to be sexy. You know what I mean? So she paints, you know, Litia's painting the wife picture. Julianna's painting the fun picture.
Yes. Well, that's a big factor, that the fun. And I'm very, yes, I want to talk about this. Well, he asks her directly if she's going to be ready for an engagement in 2 days, or is she going to break his heart? And at first, she just like promises him that she won't hurt his heart, and he's sweating. And then she's like, just so you know, I am ready. I'm prepared.
She's I'll handle your heart with care.
I'll handle your heart with care.
You got something in the bag when you change the dynamic. If he says, will you break my heart? Mm-hmm. And she says no. She doesn't say no. She says, I'll handle your heart with care, which is like a sneaky way of saying I might break up with you, which is a great way to keep someone on their toes.
I wonder, and I don't think that Julianna was doing it like consciously, but I do wonder where they would be at in this process if she wouldn't have kept him on his toes like that.
Oh, I think it's all a part of it. Yeah, 100%.
I think the fact that she was like the one saying, I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. If he was like, oh, now it's someone I can't get. And so it added to like this mystique. And then he's like, will you be ready for an engagement? And she's just like, well, handle your heart with care, but we'll see. If it was like he's like on edge and he's getting the thrill from that, and that was part of the thing. Like if she from weeks before would have been like, I'm falling in love with you, I love you, I'm all in, if it would have been the same dynamic.
I think it's all plays into it, but I really think it's the classic like Litia and the kids played perfectly into, I don't know if I'm ready yet. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that like Julianna knew what was going on with Litia, maybe, and then like I don't think that she was even playing really a game. I think that she's just kind of in the same position that he's in, which is just kind of like, I'm looking to like get together, travel, live a life. I'm not looking for that kind of the settled down life at all. I'm not really looking for the kids and all that. I'm kind of looking, and they had the exact same speed. And so I think he's up against Litia. Like Litia is giving him the opposite. So I think he's also kind of like feeling this, like I got this over here, I got this. So it was really interesting. I feel like they were synced up more, especially that last date. Yeah, because he was coming from.
I don't think that. When I was saying that, I don't think Julianna was playing a game at all by any means. Like I said, it's an interesting concept to me. She wouldn't have been as hesitant if what it would have looked like, or if that was a big factor for him of like attraction, is like I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know. Because she gave a lot more early on.
Yeah.
Early on, she was very
she pulled
back.
You're
amazing. And then she pulled back because I think that it's like, it's almost a natural,
and then as soon as she pulled back, he started going a little more like, well, I think I want to be, I don't know.
I think even if she doesn't know it, it's natural. It's like, we got to keep the tension.
She did say this, which was so cute. And she was like, I think forever is a big commitment, but it's not anything you and I couldn't handle together. It's cute. Very sweet.
Very cute.
Sweet. She's adorable. She reminds me so much of my stepsister. I can't handle it. Every time she's on the screen, and I know you all family don't know my stepsister, so I'm sorry, but I'm like, every time she's on the screen, I'm like, she's such a doll. She reminds me of my stepsister so much. Okay. Then we had Litia's final date. And she reveals in ITMs that she's like, this is the first date I'm not scared. Like, she's like, I've been nervous all the other dates. And that's a heartbreaking piece too, because in that moment, you're like, oh, Litia is like, I've got this.
She really settles in.
Litia walked into that final date and she was like, I know Grant is proposing to me. And I know we're going to be together.
Basically,
like,
there's no way after everything we've been through that someone could be ahead of me.
She
can't say more to me than this person has said.
Full confidence. And by the way, he says that he's like, I've known from the beginning that Litia is right for me and that I love her. He said that.
That's what was perfect. I love that he said that because that revealed exactly the drama.
Yeah.
Head versus heart.
You mean when he said that he's right for her?
Yeah, like that Litia is right for him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That it's like, this is my wife. This is who I should be with. On paper, this is what the doctor prescribed. But my God, am I hot for this other one, and I can't see straight. And it's hard for me to fight that. And that's the thing that always comes down in life. You know, it's like with a lot of these people, it's like that raw sexual chemistry is basically undefeated.
I know.
In every dating reality TV show, if the raw sexual chemistry is there, even if they don't end up together and the whole thing burns down, they have to see it through. They can't deny it.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they have the horseback riding date in the rain. And I mean rain. Yeah. Like it is raining hard. The wind is going. There's thunder in the background. But she absolutely loves it. And she is she is curled up onto him afterwards, like telling him all the reasons why she loves this date so much. And he lets her know. And this was, again, I'm like, oh my God, if I was in Litia's shoes. So I know that you're saying when Grant then says to Julianna later on in the process, I love you, that Julianna would be like, this is on lock. But these type of statements to Litia, I'd be like, I'm not somebody, by the way, who in this process would be sure of anything. I'd be, even if the guy was just like clearly into me, I'd be like, there's no way. I don't know. This could all blow up at the end. You know me, I can be a pessimist in those ways where I'm just like, I expect the worst. But when he says things to Litia, like what he said, which is that he hasn't done everything right in this journey, but the best thing he did was get to know her, I'd be like, it's me. I'm the one.
Well, that's the thing, is that I don't think we've ever seen someone to this level, like, say all these things. I mean, it was so much he would say, and it was so much. And again, the energy, but it was, again, for me, it was always the energy. He would say far less to Julianna, but I sensed his energy in the way that I was like watching him, and I was just like, there's a spark.
With Julianna.
There's a spark. Like, he's telling Litia way more than he's telling Julianna. He's telling her all the stuff. But there's an energy when he's with Julianna. The way he kisses her, the way he grabs her.
But like, how crazy would it be?
So I was really at the end there, I was getting a little messed up because I was like, Litia seems like a done deal, but the way he's like hanging on her and like vibing with Julianna, this is different than Litia.
But how wild would it be? Because like, again, the last couple episodes, you and I have both talked about the fact that like him and Julianna have been off.
Right. And this was the first time I felt...
So all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
it was like a total switch.
This intense chemistry is back that was kind of there at the beginning.
So maybe it was editing. You know, maybe they kind of like would just shoot certain like lower energy spots and then kind of hit us with it. But it was
I don't think it was. I don't think it was editing. It just
jumped?
Because especially then with what Litia says later of how he was like all in on Litia. I think that it was genuinely like he was all in on Litia, and then
something happened.
He was kind of playing this thing with Julianna where it's like, I don't know if she's actually going to be down. And then when they finally confess the love, then I don't know.
Oh boy.
But I think again, the biggest factor is the timeline and the kids.
Yeah, because he brings it up.
I shouldn't say that. I know what the biggest factor is, and it's connected to the time and the timeline and the kids, but we'll get into that. We also have to talk about this night portion with Litia, then into his conversation with his dad, which his conversation with his dad later in the hotel room to me was the biggest tell of everything.
Yeah.
But we got to take one more quick pause. So, family, we heard from the happy couple after the final rose that they're going to be moving to Boston, okay? They're moving to Boston, and I'm assuming they're moving in together. And if they're getting a new place together in Boston, you know that they're going to need to furnish their place. And you also know there is only one place that I suggest when it comes to indoor and outdoor furniture, and that is Article. Article.com, baby. And it's always my recommendation because over the years, we have gotten a lot of pieces from them. I'm talking couches, dining room table, chairs, coffee tables, and more. And every time we are wowed by, of course, the style, like absolutely obsessed with the look, but also the quality. These pieces have like weight to them, like true craftsmanship. They're top quality. The durability, we've had numerous Article pieces for years and they stand the test of time, and kids and dogs. And do not forget the price. I am always shook by the amazing prices on these amazing pieces.
Yeah. Article really does quality without the compromise. Article takes great care in curating its collection, focusing solely on high quality, meaningful pieces that will stand the test of time. There's no filler. Every item is chosen for craftsmanship, design, and lasting value. And like Jess said, the style, baby. They offer a curated range of mid-century modern, coastal, and Scandinavian-inspired pieces that not only shine on their own, but also pair seamlessly with nearly any other Article product. This thoughtful design approach makes it incredibly easy to mix and match, helping you create a space that feels cohesive and stylish.
Yes, it makes you feel like an interior designer. It makes your space look like it's been touched by an interior designer. Yes. It's amazing. You have to check out their pieces on their website. You'll just scroll and drool, I promise. Article also offers fast, affordable shipping across the US and Canada with options for professional assembly if you prefer a hands-off experience. And if you have a question or need help with your design choices, Article's customer care team is available 7 days a week, offering knowledgeable support and even free interior design services. They are amazing. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/momdad, and the discount will automatically be applied at checkout. That's article.com/momdad for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Article.com/momdad. All right, so into the night portion of Litia's date. And she's looking so cute and cozy. And he right away gets into, he's like, let's get serious, let's talk. And he's like, basically, do you feel pressure? He's like trying to dig into the kid thing. He's just like, so kids. He's just always bringing it up. He's like, so the kid thing. He's like, do you feel pressure? Essentially, like, do you feel pressure from the family to have kids quickly? And she's like, my family knows my heart and they know I want to be a mom. So they just know what I want. And then he brings up, and this is, again, where it's like, instead of him looking at her directly and being like, hey, I don't want to have kids in 2 years. He makes it like a hypothetical. And he's like, hypothetically, you meet a guy and you fall in love with him and you guys tell each other that you love each other. But he is more thinking about like traveling instead of like kids right away. Like hypothetically.
That has recently been on a reality television show. On this show, there's a woman who really wants kids really fast. What is my advice to him if he's like, I want to go have fun all the time and never have kids maybe in 10, 15 years? What would you say to him? Not me. I'm saying I know a guy. How
would you react? So he makes it as hypothetical. He's like, let's just say in 2 years, I'm not ready to have kids and I want to wait another year. And then she tells him, and that's what I was saying earlier, like, she's like, well, it depends, you know, if there are still things that you want to accomplish, if you're not happy, like, having kids at that exact moment and you want other things, like, I know that you want to, becoming a dad is something you take really seriously. So I want you to be happy. And that's when then she gives him essentially an answer where, yes, on the one hand, it's very clear that she wants children soon and in 2 years, but also she's in a position or a place where she's like, hey, it's going to compromise your happiness and you don't feel like, that's the best time, then I'm down to have these conversations.
Yeah.
But again, no direct, at least from what we've seen, no direct conversation about him like looking her dead in the eyes and being like, hey, this isn't the timeline that I want. And we're on two different pages. I think from her perspective, they're on the exact same page. And it just, the rest of this conversation, then knowing what ends up happening, honestly, is just like, it's pretty brutal because she's talking about how she's getting emotional, thinking about all the stress he's under and what it would like to be in his position. She's talking about how she hasn't said, I love you because, she's scared that when she finally says, I love you, that means she's going to lose it. And just like the foreshadowing of all of it and how she's like, I feel safe saying that to you because I know you're going to take care.
Oof.
Oh, it's just brutal. And then the part, she was so adorable when he's just like, well, I know what I need and I see that in you. And she's like, pick me. And it was just so cute and
I know.
Devastating.
It was obviously devastating, but
Devastating.
I just wonder though if like, maybe it's tough because I kept trying to read for like, is she picking up on anything? Because we were obviously sensing something's going on. He's really focused on this kid thing. He seems to keep bringing it up. Every conversation is about the kids, but he wasn't being transparent about it. He wasn't being straight up. He wasn't being like, just so you know, like it's off the table for 3-4 years. I think he got overwhelmed with her energy because he shifted. Then he got nervous. The kisses became smooches. His words didn't match his energy. That's when it started to feel a little discombobulated. And I feel so bad for her. Maybe it's an experience thing. Maybe he was selling it so good. I didn't sense that she was picking up on the fact that his words weren't really matching the energy. Maybe it's just when you're in the middle of it too that you couldn't imagine someone would say all those things and not follow it up with like the whole thing. But again,
when we find out later that from like day one,
it's way worse than we thought.
He's been the one pushing the vehicle forward. I mean, how are you supposed to pick up on?
I know.
Oh,
we're not in it.
The final day, his energy is a little bit. His energy's a little bit off. I'm thinking like, if his energy's a little bit off, he's probably tired. We're nervous because I'll say this, and I think a lot of people could attest to this. The day of and the day before you proposed to me, you were acting really weird because you were super nervous and you were in your head.
You're just scared.
So it's a little bit like, they're off and they're nervous. And actually, it's a pretty common conversation that it's like couples tend to get into arguments like the day of or the day before their proposal because the other partner senses that the person is acting a little off, but it's because they're thinking about the proposal.
Actually,
and it's like
Litia
something feels
was the weird one. She was like so comfortable, like zero nerves almost. She looked like she's like, cool, let's pick the house out. Like just so confident. She was so
confident that they were going to be together, Evan. Whew. Okay. Well,
let's get into that.
The day of the engagement comes and Grant's like, I went to bed last night thinking I knew who I wanted, but I woke up torn again. I'm very curious if we'd go. I'd love to know who that person was. I want to know who he went to bed confident that it was going to be.
I think he's been fighting Julianna in his brain this whole time. I think he's been fighting her. I think it's been the leech that like he can't get rid of. He's thinking about her. He's fantasizing about her. He's completely hot for her and he loves her energy and he pictures a fun life with her. It's less secure. It's a little scary. Might get my heart broken, but man, I am electric with it. Litia is like giving me everything I've ever wanted, but I can't get Julianna out of my brain. So I think it's been Litia, but I think it's like to the point. It's like I go to bed knowing I need to do that, but I can't get her out of my head. So I don't think it was like it was going to be Julianna, and then he was like, actually, maybe Litia. I personally don't see that.
Well, I think that we really came to the conclusion, and it's something that, we've kind of thrown around, but I feel like he really told us outright when he then had the conversation. His dad shows up at the hotel room, and his dad basically is like, okay, you're between the two. What do you love about each one? And then Grant says that with Litia, he's like, she's 31. She's a woman who knows what she wants. and, wants to be a mom and a wife, and everything about her is like what I've been looking for. He's like, and Julianna is fun. And I was just like, there it is.
There it is.
Grant has been pursuing Litia in the way of like, Litia is this woman who has a list of things that I've been looking for and is the person who I think I should be with. But Julianna, I have fun with her. Yeah. And I think Grant, that's it. And by the way, if I was Litia hearing this is just a personal thing for me. Devastator 5000. If I was like, you're saying that I'm everything that you should be, but I'm so not fun that you end up ignoring all of that. And obviously it's not that. It's when you have that innate pull with somebody, like you were saying, a certain sexual chemistry, and you're like, you get my blood boiling in that way. But to hear like this person's everything that I want, but this one's fun, it would just be like a devastator that I can't quite wrap my head around. But there's your answer right there.
Yeah.
And people can have their opinions whether you should choose someone who you're like, this is the person that is all these qualifiers and who I should be with, and this is the person who I have fun with. That's your own personal choice. But he just told us right there why he made his decision, and that was then for him more of a draw.
I agree. But still, going into the day, when we went into the final day, were you like, okay, I know he's not choosing Litia?
No, I thought he was going to choose Litia.
Okay. So the fun still didn't mess you up enough to think.
No, because I thought, that's not
enough.
Again, there's all these layers too, because we've talked about, her being Mormon, and is he fully down for that, the kid thing. Sure. But even though in this final episode, yes, it seemed like the chemistry was starting to pop off again with Julianna and him, I was just like, I can just look at what's been happening this entire series. And this entire series, it seemed blatantly obvious that him and Litia have had a different type of connection. So I just thought that
was locked. It was more solid.
That's going to beat it out. Yes, he has a great time with Julianna. They laugh together. They're romantic together. They have fun together. But I still thought it was going to be Litia just because of like historically in this season.
Yes.
You thought it was going to be Julianna, right? After he said
that? No, you know what? I just knew something was up. So for me, it was like before, it was like Litia's a sure thing before this episode. But I will say it was the second Julianna walked in with the family. I was like,
you felt it?
As a guy, I was just sitting there going, his energy just shifted into kind of like, can't keep my hands off you. And I'm like, if you're obsessed with someone else, you're awkward with that person. You're kind of, I don't know what to say to you. Yeah. He was the opposite. He was like, what are you doing later? It was like Louis. And I was like, uh-oh, something's up. Now, I didn't think, that wasn't guaranteed for me, but I just knew something was up.
Okay.
You can see my notes. If you watch my notes, because I take notes as, I'm watching.
Right, yeah, of course.
And I'm just going like, something's up.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, is he maybe just nervous? Something's weird.
Genuinely, Evan,
his
I know
energy's
that you were
different.
I know you were picking up on it.
He seems to be way more into her,
I know you were picking up on it. I wasn't. I felt like it was like equal energy.
Yeah. No, I knew something.
So it like threw me off. I wasn't getting a vibe from Grant during this episode like he was being off with.
No, it was
Litia.
subtle, but it was like
I wasn't getting it.
It was like ooh.
I wasn't getting it, so I was shocked.
Yes.
I was shocked. Well, also, okay, so then side note, Grant sits down with Neil Lane, and Neil's like, so who's your forever? And Grant's like, well.
It's like, do you know anyone?
He's like, can I get 2 rings? And Neil's like, that's not part of the contract. You're going to have to choose one. And Grant legitimately, think about this. Grant chose a ring
that was just kind of benign enough
knowing
to be like,
who it was going to be for.
Yeah,
and
hopefully
Evan,
they both like this.
Evan, call me fucking petty. But if I was Julianna, I'd be like, new ring immediately. Not because the ring's not gorgeous, but because I'd be like, you chose this ring as like a ring that both of us would like, I suppose. Not knowing who you were going to give it to. Just give me a gold band, but I want something that was like specifically meant for me. Not I don't know who it's gonna be for.
And just to real quick jump to the very end.
Yeah.
When it's Julianna and Grant.
Yeah.
I just want to say this because it was kind of a nothing burger, them on stage.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, we're happy to be here and we're going to Italy.
Right.
You know, it was like, dude, after everything that went down in let's say I'm including the ring situation in this.
All of it.
There was no like, hey, Julianna, how do you feel about the fact that all this happened, that he didn't know until the very last minute, that he told her all this stuff? And it was just kind of like, you know what? He's an amazing guy. And I just care about what my family thinks. It was kind of wild for her not to be like, it was kind of fucked up and crazy, and it is concerning, but we've worked through it, and you know, that's for us to work through, but it's been really hard, but we kind of really, you know, it was just kind of like, he's amazing, I'm amazing, and we're gonna have so much fun going to dinner now in public. It was just kind of like, whoa.
I was bewildered that it wasn't a bigger conversation, like you said. You know, it did get brought up for a second. Like Jesse was like, so Julianna, your thoughts on this? And she was like, you know, I give him grace. He's like, I bet you've given him a lot of grief. And she's like, no, I give him grace. And, you know, I understand how Grant operates and like his big heart needing to make these decisions and da-da-da. And I was bopping between either, you know, on the one hand, I'm like, wow, good for her to be able to be like, I don't care what everyone on social media thinks. I don't care. I know that I love him and I care about the people who I love and my family's opinion, and that's it. And I'm not even going to give this a hint of like frustration. So there's that. Or there's like the other side of, are we choosing to ignore this like really big thing?
Yeah.
Where this person didn't know if he was going to choose you or another woman until 30 seconds before it happened. And are we not acknowledging that is pretty wild?
Or maybe they just battle royaled out in person.
And will this come up later in the relationship? I think there's the two options. And for the sake of them, because they seem absolutely in love and so cute together, I hope that it's like, you know what? He found his person. She's in love with him. She's like, I love Litia and I wish her, you know, the best. And I'm so sorry what she had to go through, but I love this man and we don't care what anybody else thinks, and they're going to coast through this together. Or is this going to become something that hits 6 months later? Because you know how that can be sometimes, where all of a sudden the adrenaline, you're like, you're still getting to know each other, where you're like, no, I'm good. I'm trying to be cool. I'm good. And then all of a sudden you're like, one day you wake up and you're like, holy shit.
Right.
Do I feel confident that I'm the one you want to be with because you weren't sure until last minute?
Or not even, I forget the last minute thing. It's not even about that for me. It's the like, you confessed the deepest depths of love conversations with this person and just told them they were amazing. So now can I trust anything you tell me? Am I going to get caught in this situation? That would be more my thing. But anyway, let's talk about this engagement.
For sure. So, you know, he rolls up and Jesse's like, Grant,
did you ever figure this out, or...
You need to make a call. And Jesse even said to the live studio audience, he's like, historically, this was the most last minute decision we've ever seen.
Yeah. He was asking cast members, like, who do you think? Oh.
He's like, production, he's like, can you weigh in on your thoughts here? I mean, it was genuinely up to the final hour. And then he's talking about who he's like, I don't know if I can tell someone to their face that they're not the one. He's like, can I send a text, a strongly worded letter?
But that's the thing about Grant.
Do we have to do this face to face?
The dude is like ice cold. You know what I mean? Like, he's let people go that were like every time he's let someone go, not cold in even a mean way, just more like, he's pretty like surgical about it. He just goes, every time, it was like at the very end, he's, I'm so sorry. And can I walk you out? Like, he did it like 5 times over the season. And even this one, it wasn't tears running down the face. It was straight up just like,
but at the same time, Evan, we've talked about this. But at the same time, we've talked about the fact that like, he also though doesn't want to disappoint anybody because he hasn't let anyone go early. So it's interesting. It's like, when he has to and it comes down to the wire, there's not like this emotion of like, I don't want to see you go. I'm so sorry. But he also doesn't want to disappoint people. So he won't cut people earlier.
Which is...
It's interesting.
Is tough. It's kind of the people-pleasing energy. So then you kind of hurt more people in the end than you know. I'm not.
As a recovering people pleaser over here, I can't lie and say that there were moments where I'm like, I can
Could see
see
myself,
what
yeah.
happened because you're so concerned about hurting a person. But when you have to like start to look at yourself in the mirror and go, am I really worried about their feelings, or am I more concerned with the fact that like I don't want to feel uncomfortable or feel like I'm not a good person because they're hurting? And it's like,
Sure.
it's about me a lot of times. At least that's what my experience was when I had to come face to face with a lot of my people pleasing tendencies, where I'm like, am I being selfless, or am I really,
low-key
I'm
being
hurting
selfish
more
about the whole thing.
people because I'm selfishly like not wanting to feel uncomfortable or not like have people not like me and those things.
Man, her speech to him was like I mean, it was like what movies write about, like basically, you know, your oath to someone. I mean, she goes.
So Litia walks up first. Yes.
Yeah. And she's just like, I want to have children with you. I want to grow old together. Found her true love, a man she can be with forever. She walks through her history. She's like calm. She talks about how she wants to give him the family that he never had growing up, to be a home with the kids and be loved and cherished, and how he completes her and the love that she never thought she would get. I mean, we're talking The Notebook meets, you know, Forever, whatever, you know, every movie. I mean, she is spinning together the most beautiful, just like, love cannot be deeper than this.
And by the way, as this is all happening, when she walks up, God bless her. Why did Jesse Palmer not offer an arm? She's in this tight, gorgeous little dress and these huge heels, and she's having to scooch through the rain by herself. And then when she walks up before this speech, Grant is big smiles.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, he kisses her multiple times. Yes. During the speech, he's smiling at her. And I'm like, Grant.
And then this is kind of where it got
I'm like,
wild.
Grant, why did you let her say this speech? Why? Why?
Yeah, no. He sits in the whole thing. He sits in the pocket like it's happening. He lets her do her vows to him. That's what that was. It was the vows. It was wedding vows.
I don't understand. Are the leads forced to do this? Why do leads do this? Is it forced?
I think he didn't want to interrupt. Like, I think he literally was letting her just go because the way that he broke it off was literally.
Oh my God.
So she pours her soul into him. She's not nervous at all. It's crazy. She's like so confident.
So confident.
He literally hits her with the like, wow, that means a lot. Whew, this is hard. You know, I'm just kind of thinking about it, and you're not my person. And she's so in shock. You could see it doesn't register at first. She kind of gets hit. She kind of just goes like, what? Like, she's kind of almost just like,
oh, she literally goes, what?
Like
she goes,
she almost like kind of like laughs. Like, are you joking?
It was like
wasn't
a
even
candid,
like a rude, are you joking? It was like like, is this kind of like, are you being silly?
It was like a punked moment. It was like, where are the cameras? It's a joke.
Because then she kind of like, then it starts to hit her. And she's kind of like, there's no way that you're like not even like bawling right now, or like, I can't, you just kind of like, you're just not my person.
And then he says, my emotional connection is stronger elsewhere. And she's like, huh?
It was like someone telling you flunked out of college on your last day and you were already like, got your job. You know what I mean? It was just so like, what are you talking about?
Well, and to say that there's a stronger emotional connection somewhere else is like so shocking, because that's always been the thing that he's had with her, that he's talked about, is their emotional connection, how deep they go. And she's like, when did this change? And he's like, well, it didn't. I still love you. He's like, I hope this was then when she did this. I can't lie to you. I was standing up and like giving snaps.
Yeah.
When he was like, I hope you don't view me any differently. And she goes, well, I for sure do. Come on now. That was everything. And then he's like, well, this isn't about me. And she's like, oh, Grant, it's all about you. And that was a moment.
And
when
he almost got a little frustrated there.
Oh, yeah.
I saw him kind of like, he almost like he was about to go after it a little bit, and then he like stopped himself. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. And that's kind of where I was really like bummed out about Grant, was that in that moment, he didn't break her heart and then care for her. He broke her heart and then was more interested in how he looked.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that.
You know what I mean? It was like, oh, by the way, sorry to destroy your whole world, but like, just so you know, like, I'm still a good guy. And you think that way too, right? Like, that was the concern. Not like, yeah. I know I shouldn't have settled. It was like,
well, it's
don't be mad at me. What did I do?
The people pleasing thing.
I'm just being honest. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's the people pleasing thing. It felt like that, where it's like, I need you to know, though, that I'm a good guy, though, right? And then she's like, yeah, you're different than I thought. She had some fucking lines to say, no, it's all about you. And then be like, you're different than I thought. And then great. When she was like, which is such a girl's girl moment.
Her eyes were squinting too, because she was almost like you're different than I thought. Like, who are you? Energy, which was great.
Well, when we find out later after the final rose, of course she's going to feel that way. Like, I don't even know who you are at this point. And when she had such a girl's girl moment, which I loved, we love a girl's girl moment, when she was just like, Julianna is a beautiful woman who deserves love, and I love her. And I would have a lot of questions if I were her from the things you've said to me. And then she's like, that's for you guys to work out. It's none of my business, but she's an amazing woman and I love her. And I'd have a lot of questions if I were her.
It was hey, just so you know, I'm not jealous. Like, this isn't a jealousy issue.
Yeah, just so you know.
I'm not just going, what do you mean? I'm the girl.
It's not me.
It was like she deserves to know.
Yeah.
This is pretty
what
fucked.
You said to me.
Yeah.
What you said to me. And then off camera, Grant's kind of, at this point then, like you were saying, his response is he's kind of like chasing after her a little bit. He's like, well, you thought I was misleading you?
It was about like, what do you mean? I'm
good,
still
like,
good guy.
Grant, come on now. Like, you know what you said every day, and you making this switch up is crazy. And then he's kind of like, yeah, I'll take responsibility for that. But like I said, he's practically following her out, being like, I still have feelings for you. I tried to do my best. And, you know, she's like, I believe you, but I am confused and I'm sad and I'm mad.
He hit her with the like straight up, you win some, you lose some.
A little bit, yeah.
Like straight up. Like that was how he broke it off.
It was wild.
He broke it off in the same way that he broke off someone 6 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Like, you're just not a person. And you know what I mean? You're great.
And it was like,
just so you know, I'm still a good guy though, right? And you're like, this is not week 4, week 2. This is like the end of the line. You've confessed everything. You've shared the deepest secrets. You overnight everything, and then you set out. I want to have kids with you, and I love you, and you're the wife. Everything. And then just be like, you're not my person. You win some, you lose some. It was just like to the point where I think she was in shock. She couldn't even react.
Yeah, she wasn't even crying because it was I woke up in a parallel universe today. Like, I knew I was getting engaged, and then a different. You know what it was like? She was like, he's got a twin. He's got a twin. Yeah. And his twin showed up because his twin's been dating Julianna. Grant's twin's been dating Julianna. I've been dating Grant. Grant's twin showed up. And now I'm confused. It's like, bring out the real Grant. That's what it felt like.
It was, I mean, I would be out of my mind because I'd just be like, I just felt so bad for her because it was so blindsiding. And it wasn't this long drawn out and he's quivering and it's like I can't, it was just kind of like, sorry. That like you couldn't wrap your head around it until probably that night or the next day, you know?
Well, we end up getting some tea. So then Litia hits the hot seat and Jesse's like, how are you feeling? And she's like, it doesn't make more sense to me now than it did then, which is wild, by the way, because a lot of times you see this and people are like, now watching back, I see their connection. And I'd feel the same way as Litia, because again, until this final episode where he's got more of the connection back with Julianna, I'd be watching it too. And all of us have been saying Litia's the clear front runner. Like, Litia's the one he's going to choose. So yeah, if I'd be watching it back too, I'd be like, yeah, it still doesn't make any sense to me. I'm feeling very confused. But we get the tea because she essentially lets us know that their first date together, and by the way, she knows. She's like, it was on camera. It was on camera and you guys didn't air it. Yeah. And she lets the audience know that they could air it.
It's worse than you thought. Yeah.
Like, they could air it if they wanted to. She's like, first date we had, Grant straight up was like, we can wrap the crew. You're the one. I found you.
Yes.
Their first date in Los Angeles together. And she said, also, right at the end of our most recent nighttime date in our hotel room, I said to him, I can't wait to get engaged tomorrow. And he was like, I know, I can't wait. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Love you, love you, love you. And this is all on camera. Yeah. What I found to be interesting, by the way, is once Grant comes out, she makes a comment. She kind of gives him an eye. She's like, by the way, you said a lot to me in the fantasy suite, but she never touches on what he said. The only stuff she specifically addresses are things that were actually on camera, which, by the way, great lawyer move of her.
Of course.
Because it's almost like it's like, I'm not even going to touch.
I don't even need the stuff from the
It's like, I'm not even going to touch what you said to me in the fantasy suite, because technically you could attempt to deny that because there's no evidence, but you can't deny the stuff that there's actual footage of, that if it were to come out, it would be clear. So Litia then paints this whole new picture for us, where she lets the audience know, from the beginning of our relationship, Grant has been telling me that I'm the one. And I have been saying to him, don't make me promises that you can't keep.
Yeah.
I haven't been putting pressure on him. I would tell him, hey, there's a lot of other amazing women here. You don't know yet. And she said, and I was thinking about what you said when he declared I love you to her. She said, I have been putting my foot on the brake the whole time, and he's pumping the gas. And I think it's exactly what you were talking about, where it's like he was attempting to lock her down and then ultimately didn't choose her.
And we're even seeing it on the Julianna side. She pulls back, he pushes. You know what I mean? It's almost like a tendency of his, but obviously it was on steroids with her.
And you're right. You're right, actually, now that I think about that. If what we didn't see about Litia is that she was always pushing back or pulling back, that's actually that's a really interesting perspective, because from what she's saying, she was pumping the brakes and always going, Grant, don't say that.
Exactly.
You're not sure. And so there was a chase there. It seems like Grant likes the chase.
He likes the chase. He doesn't like the sure thing. I think the sure thing scares him because it feels like there's pressure. Maybe, I don't know what. But when she hit him with the, I'm so glad to never talk to you about this, that was fucking iconic. Because it really was just kind of like, this is horrific. I'm tortured by this.
Yes.
And like, there's no point in talking to you because you're already like happily engaged to this person and like whatever. That it was just like, I have to do this live show. I think you're low key, like not cool. And the fact that like, I just get to bury the hatchet now and be done with this. It just shows you the depth. Like, she wasn't, you know what I mean? Like the difference between like trying to get like a buzz off of it or trying to get some social media buzz or whatever. You could tell it was truly just like, I can't wait for this to be over. Because I'm getting a lot of guys in my DMs and it's looking promising.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal too when even Jesse, before he even came out, and she tells Jesse, she's like, yeah, I think he made the right choice because he's different than what I thought.
Yes.
And I was like, oof. And again, I know I brought this up earlier, but she also mentions that she's like, y'all didn't see it, but I told him the timeline early on. I did not spring this on him. And that's the thing about Litia, is I do feel like throughout this whole process, we saw her be extremely transparent, but also not put the pressure on.
No.
It's exactly what she did with the fantasy suite date, where it was like, hey, I'm not comfortable getting intimate, but I'm also not pressuring you not to get intimate with the other women or telling you that I'm going to bail if you do. I'm just letting you know I personally am not going to go there, and I don't want to hear about the details with like you and the girls, but I'm not, she didn't put pressure. She really never did.
No.
She really never did.
She played the whole time. She was honest, straight up, herself. She never once played a game. She was, I will say this, like whether you like her or not, whether you think she's the right fit for him, blah, blah, you cannot comment once on her playing the game dirty, feeling a little dishonest, getting into it with the late, like she was solid the whole way through. I think if I was to wrap this whole thing up in like a what did it, I think it was her hometown. I think the hometown spooked him. He's like, dude, there's 600 kids here. Everyone's talking about kids.
Sure.
The mom literally looked at me and said, like, you're basically a sperm donor at this point. We'll take anybody. Just get her pregnant. You know what I mean? Like, there's just this, like, he was just kind of like, I think it spooked him. I think he's like, I'm already kind of like not into the kid thing for a while. Yeah. And these people are saying like, just get married and have kids. We don't care. And I think it was that's why, I mean, who brings up, like, you think you have, your parents are like really, you know, making you want to have kids? Like, he was like, it spooked him, and he's been trying to get it back the whole time. You know how some people do this where they're like trying to win it back, and so then they go too far. It's almost like how people say, like, be wary if your partner is like buying you a million things all of a sudden because they're about to break up with you. It's like, I wonder if he started really pouring it on almost to force his emotion through the fire.
Yeah.
And then it's like he realized it wasn't. I don't know. But for him to kind of lean in 1,000%, it's bizarre.
Well, I mean, when he came out, she stood her ground. She was like, I don't think you're a bad guy, but like, let's be real. You talked about the fact that like you needed to like, be responsible for how the women felt on this show and you wanted to be transparent. And like, that's not what went down. And even when he tried to be like, it was really hard though.
Yeah, tough for me.
She was not letting him get any windows in. She was like, nope. Got you there. She was not letting him get in. But she was also still being like simultaneously gracious. She wasn't like coming for him and being like, how fucking dare you? She was like, I don't think you're a bad guy, but like, let's be fully transparent about what transpired. And by the way, obviously, not that I doubted Litia, but for anyone who would doubt it, we know that that's all what happened because Grant doesn't deny it at all. Grant is just like, well, yes, I can take responsibility for all that. So if he's willing to say that, then you know that like it was really was going down with them. You're the one. She was convinced. He was saying this to her from the get. But shout out to Grant. He was, he had a couple moments where he was like, this is a really hard process. Right. Like, you got to understand this is a really hard process. But overall, he did basically come out and say, I can't make any excuses. What I did was wrong. And I'm really, really sorry for hurting you, and not just hurting you, but also hurting the people who you care about. Because, that was the other thing too. She's like, you told my mom on FaceTime that I was the one, which is a wild decision.
Oh, and remember, she goes,
that's crazy.
Isn't it crazy we're going to get engaged tomorrow? And he goes, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, we already talked about that. It's insane.
I totally forgot. I totally forgot you brought that up because it was just like, I remembered, you said it and then I didn't remember it happening. And then it kind of like struck my mind of like, that's insane. It's not even like you're guaranteeing it. You're insane.
Looking at the person and being like, yes, see you tomorrow.
It's done.
At the altar. We're getting married, and then you don't show up.
It's like one of those movies where you're like, I'll sign the contracts tomorrow, I'll be there, and then all of a sudden your enemy's there, and they're signing the contract with the enemy. And
it's Runaway Bride. It's all of that. It's so shocking. But
what else can you do? I mean, like the best thing he could have done was just kept his mouth shut and just been like, I know. Bad.
I'm not saying
but
that
I
I'm
will
like.
say all he did though, there was a difference though. He said, I'm sorry that your like feelings were hurt. That's kind of what he hit her with.
Really?
It wasn't really like I blew that whole thing. It was kind of like I'm sorry your feelings are hurt.
I wasn't like, oh my God,
and
wow.
She could tell she wasn't very satisfied with that response. It was kind of, ugh.
But I'm not saying, I wasn't like, oh wow, look at him like apologizing. Yeah. So I was okay. Well, we've seen in the past, many of the bachelors come in and then try to like defend their actions, even though they're so off base. Right. I'm like, at least he didn't come in and start trying to defend all his actions. At least he was like, well, you got me there. And I'm really,
there was nothing he could have said. There was literally no evidence,
And again, it's because she used stuff that was on camera. She didn't even bring up what he said in the fantasy suite, which I would love to know what he said in the fantasy suite. But she didn't even go there, so that there was so much no way. Already,
she didn't even.
There was no way that he could deny something that's already on camera.
She kept the emotion low too, right? Like you said, she wasn't like blasting him or coming. She was so calm and chill, and she even said, "Yeah, I don't think you're a bad guy." And it was like the evidence was so monstrous that you don't even need to bring anything extra.
And she also was like, "Yeah, you know what? I don't have any regrets. I'm like you said, I'm excited. This is the last time I have to talk to you about this." But then she's like, "I'm excited for my future. I'm gonna find my person.
Yeah,
he's gonna choose me." She had a powerhouse exit.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Powerhouse exit.
Oh my God, that was gnarly.
It was so gnarly. I was dripping sweat. It was crazy. And I felt like my heart really shattered for her because this was the person that she told I love you for the first time. She so clearly was like, this is going to be my guy. And to have to relive it is so brutal. And also brutal, just the way that the show does this, is that like there's this crazy devastating moment. She's getting like like dragged through the trenches emotionally.
Sure.
And then they're like, and here's Juliana's proposal.
Yeah. And
bring out the happy couple. And we're like, yay.
My
and I'm like, this is like jarring.
It's just so straightforward. And you know, their engagement was beautiful, and we're really happy for them. Happy for Juliana that she, you know, is with the person 100%. That she loves, and it worked out for her.
And her speech was absolutely beautiful as well. Juliana's speech was
the speech was
so
beautiful.
Sweet.
They look amazing together. She looks super happy, whatever. But I do love the like, and here's this super devastating thing, and we can't believe how he handled this, and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to the birthplace of pizza. And they say it like no one knows where that is, too. He was saying it like it was Narnia. He's like, and they're going to the birthplace of pizza. Like, we're all on a cliffhanger. We're like, we don't know where pizza's
Jesse
from.
built it up so much. I was like, we all know you're going to say Italy. Just like, say Italy.
Dude, we know. Then he starts, but then it's only because he loves, like, he's like, are you going to have some, you know, pizza canada? He's like, he had some words, and then he goes, all right, guys, that's amore. And you're like, dude, it was insane. The left turn of energy was hilarious. But he was so excited to talk about Italy. All he was doing, like, in between as they were leaving, they're like, you guys are going to have the best time. I'm telling you, I'm going to send you all the spots. He's like, it's my favorite place.
No, he was building it up so intensely, funny. And all I could think about was, of course, they don't show where they're going. They don't show how long they're
going to the Holiday Inn.
Straight up, I'm like, you know, if it would be, I'm like, I want to see the evidence of you all at ABC at The Bachelor being like, we're going to give you first class airfare for 2 weeks to stay at the Four Seasons in Florence, Rome, a gondola ride through, you know, like I want that. It's one of those
useless vacations
they
where they're
never
like,
say
we're going to send
anything.
you across the world and it's 3 nights.
I'm like, I want some Price is Right business. I want the exact definition of what you're going to send them to do, because every time they say, we're going to pay for this, we're going to do this, they give no details. And I'm like, I know that they're shafting these people because there's no way to prove otherwise.
It's also just so funny when they build up this, like, this is a multi-million-dollar production with all this stuff.
I know.
And they give them a gift that's like what you get as a consolation prize on The Price is Right. They're like, well, you didn't win, but we're sending you to Acapulco. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they do on every show. So the fact that, like, at the very end, their big gift is like you go on a vacation is still so funny to me. It's not like they're buying them a house. It's like they're literally sending them on like a 5-day vacation.
They've done that once before, but in general, you're just
that's
like...
what you win is just a vacation, which is basically what every consolation prize on every show is. It's just very funny to me.
But the whiplash was wild. And then Jesse, even after the proposal, he said... He's like, it's truly a fairy tale ending for these two. And I'm like, I am still pretty rattled from Litia.
Fairy tale.
Also pretty rattled from the fact that he didn't know that he was going to pick Juliana until 30 seconds before. And we're just not going to really address that. That left me unhappy. Yeah. I wanted more. And I don't, listen, for the sake of Juliana, I don't want her to hurt and have to be uncomfortable on stage and hash it out. So, like, there's a part of me that's like, I'm happy for her to just, like, live her happy fairy tale energy. But, like, the recapper, viewer part of me is more like, where is the information? Where is the information?
Juliana, do a live where you just go, all right, guys.
Give us all the info. This. But, you know, Grant was saying when they sat down together, he was like, she's my best friend. We have like the best time together, and genuinely seeing the two of them together. And we've said this from the very beginning. By the way,
said it. You made
by
the right decision.
I think you called Juliana as the winner in the cast bios.
I did.
I think you did.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, I called from a headshot. I called the winner.
And I could be wrong, but I think you also said that Litia was going to be like top 2 or something. I think you might have fully nailed it. I could be wrong. I have to double check.
And I think I even said something to the effect of like, Juliana is his type, and he's going to try to get away from her, but he's not going to be able to get away from her. So I was even that specific.
I think you did. Ooh. But, you know, these two, they do seem extremely happy together. Something that he did mention to his dad as well about Juliana is that he said that I think that we can help heal each other.
Yeah.
And I can sense that. I feel that from the two of them, where it's like, they have similar struggles, and hopefully with their relationship, they're able to like kind of hold each other's hands and like process through those together.
Yep.
And she's just a ball of sunshine. She came out on that
100%.
stage and was just whooping and hollering and was just having the time of her life and seemed like she was so happy. He seemed so happy. And clearly, I mean, they've been together for now numerous months and still are together. And even then Jesse brought up, he's like, Bachelor Nation thought, we all were assuming that you were single because of your expressions during the Women Tell All. And he's like, what went down? We never got the answer. We don't know if Grant was trying to pull one over, if there was some drama going on. We just had Julianna say, you got to ignore sometimes social media. And she's like, I even fed into it because I know that she posted some kind of like ominous quote. So Julianna was even like feeding into the idea that Grant was with no one.
Yes.
So these two are just, they're having their
yeah. I mean, like, they made it's the right decision. Grant
what?
would not have been in the right position. Could have blown out.
I
Litia
agree.
Could have been even more hurt. So it's the right decision, but it's obviously we're very critical of the way that it went down.
I'm devastated for Litia and the heartbreak that she felt, but I do think it's the right decision. These two seem extremely happy together. It looks like they are gonna just
It's the right fit.
Be traveling, have a fun time. They're moving to Boston together. They have plans. They've been working out. And I think if he would have been with Litia, as much as this hurt for her, I think ultimately the heartbreak would have been even worse.
Maybe saved her some years,
You know what? Yeah, exactly. Like she wants these children, and I could see them having been together for 6 months, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't think I want this, and then that's even more intense heartbreak for her. So
yes.
So congratulations.
Wow. Yeah,
congratulations to the happy couple. Genuinely am.
Yeah,
I really do like.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy Grant this whole season. I've talked about it. I liked him from the get. I think Julianna's amazing. Obviously, Litia's incredible. Grant made some really, really bad decisions to wrap this.
Yeah.
But maybe you live and you learn. And I think Litia will find someone amazing after being on this show. Maybe we're going to see Litia in paradise.
I love that idea. She's sweet and charming, and I think she would be awesome. This might have been a lot. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I was her, I would not be ready to
Litia's been hanging with some of the powerhouse ladies of Bachelor Nation. Okay. So I think she's out there. I believe she's going to meet someone.
She is pretty tough. I will say it wasn't like she was crawling on the floor sobbing. She kind of just bodied it. And she was like, that's fucked up. And then just kind of was like, okay,
She's a tough cookie.
I don't know who that person is. I'm glad we're not together anymore. Even during the live, she wasn't. How could you? I mean, she was strong.
She's a strong woman.
I think she's pretty tough.
She's a badass. And
I would have been way
out.
more of a mess. I would have been sloppy up there, eating tissues. Yeah.
No, she was an absolute badass, and she's hanging out with these powerful women of Bachelor Nation. I think she's going to meet someone IRL.
I think
she'll meet someone out in the wild. She's going to these events.
She's
a catch. She's going to meet somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
But speaking of Bachelor Nation, we end up wrapping this episode. Jesse brings out Zoe. Zoe gets her moment. Zoe wasn't at the Women Tell All.
Love her.
She wasn't at the Women Tell All, and she didn't ever have her hot seat moment. So I do really appreciate that the show gave her her moment. She looked stunning.
Yeah.
She was then invited to join the cast of Bachelor in Paradise.
Yep.
As she accepted. And then that's when Jesse Palmer was like, but also we have
some old people joining you guys. What? It's like for the old people, it's awesome, right? You've been around a lot of hot young people. For the young people, you're like, what? So you're sacrificing young hot people for people that are my parents' age? This is kind of fucked. Why are you doing this? I'd be like, this is so weird.
I'd be like, well, if half of the cast is going to be older people, that means that my pickings are going to be slimmer.
It's half.
You're gonna.
That's why I'm saying they can't be together. They're selling it. They're selling us on some BS, saying it's gonna. They're not. It's two separate things. It makes no sense.
I think they're gonna combine them.
Dude, I'll lose my mind if they do that.
Evan, it's gonna be so good. Everyone's so mad about it. Everyone's just like, how dare they? We never asked for this. And then ABC was like, abracadabra, here's something you never asked for. Abracadabra.
Ooh, new Gaga song's fire.
Get me started on Mother. God, that record is everything. But they literally, it's like we didn't ask for this, and so everyone's not happy about this at all. But I am thrilled because it's going to be disastrous. I love kind of want to watch mess a little bit right now. Okay,
agreed.
It's the Elmo meme with everything on fire. Yes. I kind of want to see that go down.
Yes, 100%.
I want to see. And I do think there will be some really funny moments if they combine them. Like, I'm not talking about the guys being fucking creepy. I'm talking about like the Susans, the Kathys, sitting behind the bar, giving advice to the young people, being like, get your ass out there and go flirt with it. Like, I think there'll be some really funny.
No, I mean, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I just would be pissed I'm not saying I'll be pissed. I'm saying I would be pissed if I was one of the young people in these sacrificing positions for the Goldens.
I agree, but the people are pissed.
Yeah.
The audience is not thrilled.
Yeah, I'm not pumped.
But I am.
I'm excited. I mean, it'll be weird. It'll be fun and new. We've seen the same thing a million times. It'll be fun and new. Who knows?
I was thrilled.
Yeah, I love it.
Well.
Great season, guys.
Anywho, that was a season.
Well, it was a great season.
It had great
I'm not saying it
moments.
Worked perfectly. I'm just saying it was great as in there was a lot of interesting characters. There was some moments. And to be honest with you, and I'm not saying people's pain and pleasure is what this is about. And at this end of the day, the fact that the end had a crazy situation makes it interesting, which is something to talk about.
I completely agree. I think, though, this season had some great moments. It had some boring moments. It had some too fast times. I don't know how I feel about this season overall.
Not a big heart season.
No, but there was also some parts that I really enjoyed a lot. Yeah. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this season.
I'm a little confused, and I was trying to be a little more positive, and you kind of shot that down. So, guys, thank you so much for that. The sour old man over here, who's normally the crotchety one, tries to turn the page, and out of nowhere gets shot down. So this is, keep me in my path of just grumpy oldness over here. This is what happens
when I'm not with you. I become a curmudgeon, and I'm just like, I don't know how I felt about this goddamn season.
I know.
It was too fast, and I didn't feel emotionally connected as much as I should, and this ending hurt my body, and I don't know.
I know. Well,
sorry.
We always have
but it's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
But we love you, family, and we loved
love
recapping this and this journey with you. And I sure as hell cannot wait to recap Bachelor in Paradise. We'll let you know when they announce the dates for that. But in the meantime, we're going to have fun recapping Love is Blind. I miss Nick Lachey so much. I can taste it. He's so amazing. Close to us.
It's our zeitgeist. We love it. It's a part of our culture. It's our lore.
It is our lore. We love it so much.
We love you all.
We will see you next Wednesday for a Love is Blind recap, Wednesday and Friday. We love you so much, babe. I miss you.
Love you. I'll see you in a couple days.
I'll see you in a couple days.
Oh, I love you, family. I love you.
We love you, family. Bye.
Bye.